have a quorum. Becky, if you will note that we have a quorum, the 2 members are missing, 3 members counting the mayor. We begin, as we always do, with the approval of the minutes of our last 2 meetings. We have November of last year, December of last year. Let's take one at a time. You've all had a chance to review those minutes. Members of the commission, is there a motion?
Well, I have a question regarding the minutes of November 7th.
Okay.
The version that I looked at was missing the name of the owner of 400 East Sharon, Pandy Pridemore. Is that in the current version? It's page 3, under item 5, 1021 Morse Avenue.
I'll make sure it's added if it's not there.
Okay, so I move approval of the minutes of November 7th, 2022 with, as revised.
Okay. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Likewise for the December meeting, members of the commission, we've had a chance to review those.
I made some edits that I sent this morning to, it wasn't the whole commission. It was David and you, Tom, the chair, and maybe Becky. Did you receive them?
I didn't see anything. Yeah.
Well,
Okay, then I move we defer approval of
Yeah.
the December 5th minutes till the
let's
next
defer.
meeting.
I did see those, Beth, and I replied back that it looked good, but I didn't realize that everybody wasn't on that service list. So,
We'll circulate, or we'll find it and circulate.
okay, make sure that this is on the agenda for next month then, David. All right, before, moving on to our agenda, the nomination and election of officers. This is our annual meeting, so as we always do in January, we accept nominations for the 3 officers, and we have a vote. What's the pleasure of the commission?
I nominate Tom Bridenstine as chair and Tom Kerr as vice chair. And I think
Leslie's our current
Leslie
secretary, right?
Cooper will be our next secretary.
We have a nomination. Is there a second of that
Would
nomination?
second those.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Kerr, Ms. Cooper. Likewise, for our annual meeting, we take the opportunity to review whether there's any changes that we want to consider to the bylaws or to the guidelines. And I say this every year, I feel like a broken record, but it's a requirement that we take this opportunity at our annual meeting. That doesn't mean we don't have opportunities throughout the year to do that. I haven't heard of any discussion of changes to the bylaws or to the guidelines, but I do want to at least make note of that for the record that we've created this opportunity for discussion. So any comments, any questions, or anything to discuss on those 2 matters?
Not at this meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on then to our new business. The first request is that of the Princeton City Schools for railing replacement at 930 Congress. Is there someone here from the schools? Would you step to the podium, tell us your name, and describe your application, and we'll take it from there.
It's Brian Woosty. We're just replacing what's there. It's old steel or rot. That's more of a safety thing than anything.
All right. We've seen the photographs that you submitted. I suppose those are just examples of
Yeah.
railings that you want?
Well, that's what I was told to do.
Okay.
Previous jobs.
Okay. Where are the railings? I have zero clue of where the railings are that
on
you're
the left
replacing.
side of the school. I emailed it over to an email address. I don't know if you guys got it.
I don't.
Weeks ago.
I did ask you to send
Yeah.
them. I don't remember receiving them.
Yeah,
When
the
did you
emails
send
on
them?
the, what do you call it?
Which building is this?
The school over in, right around the corner,
On Congress,
That way?
The main one on Congress?
Glendale.
Glendale Elementary.
Oh, okay, okay.
The ones on the left, they're all around the building. This is one that's actually falling apart. So we're going to eventually change all of them, but this is just the first one.
Okay.
so it's replacing existing railings with something
Aluminum.
similar.
Somewhat, yes.
Well, I don't know if it's similar. I mean, we don't have pictures of the current railings.
The current one is a metal with a kind of a tongue down on the handrail piece. Pretty historic.
And these are,
Looks like standard aluminum.
does anybody need to see these photographs that were submitted?
All those.
Those are photographs of the new railings, right? Not of the existing conditions. So, yeah, are the existing railings original to the 1920s?
They appear they are, truly. Even on the side of the exit area, too, as that goes down the stairs.
Oh, okay, so we don't know what we're voting for.
No, we don't, I didn't see anything in the Dropbox, and I did a drive-by for
Yeah.
everything. And because the last photo implied, or the example, showed it, the railing on the side, which cut off these steps in the picture, but there's one single railing going down the center
Of the main
of the
entryway?
main entrance. Very noticeable, it is the face of the building, so.
On the left side of the building.
So this one you're talking about is you're only replacing on the left. So if you're facing it, it's on the left, where that walkout is, and down.
Were we talking the north side of the building?
Yes.
Okay.
But the intent then would be that whatever you replace in other locations around the building would match that.
These, Brian, are these the railings? Which set? Those in the front? Those in the front? This doesn't give a lot of detail, but.
Yeah,
you get an idea of
I
which
saw
ones.
it.
That set.
But not that set or other exits?
Well, this one is also, I mean, it has the tongue to it on the end of the railing. No,
That's as close as.
I can see.
and then if
So
that's
close.
gonna match, you're talking the one in the very front then too.
Those are the rails for the
You
cast.
can't, it's just
A static image?
no, it's just,
Oh.
you can't touch the screen.
Yeah, that's, yeah, I'm gonna get close.
I scroll it all.
You can see it, part of it.
Yeah. It literally runs right down the center. It's centered on a pair of doors too.
And on either side, or just the
No,
center?
just center.
That rail's not original. Because when I was a kid, that side, that
It was
side
all
of the store
open?
didn't have any rails.
In the front there.
Correct. The rails on the side from the classrooms might be original, but the very front of the store did not have any rails.
So the question is that detail that you're referring to critical to the integrity of the building?
You can't see it. No, you can, but you can't.
Well, how about over here? I mean, how did it work now? Back. There's railing on that side as well.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think we have enough information to make a decision. I mean, we're looking at photographs that don't give us any detail. And every entrance is a prominent feature of this building, so I would hesitate to feel comfortable in taking any action. I'll leave it up for discussion, though.
Are you guys good?
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion?
Sounds like we need to defer until we get some drawings or pictures of what you're replacing.
What else do you want? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're asking for.
Well, we know what you're trying to use as a replacement. We don't know what you're replacing. We don't have photographs or drawings of the current rails or what rails you're replacing. So we need some photographs, drawings, some indication of what you're replacing and where you're replacing it.
That's what I'm just saying. I'm not
We
sure-
didn't see it. And he doesn't have it.
I have to double check to make sure they were received. I don't have those.
He was looking at a Google Earth image, which is so far back you can't even see the detail of the railings. So, and we don't know which railings you're talking about. We heard you say it, but we need a,
Corner. I mean, that's the only rail that's falling apart right now.
which one?
Front left corner.
Oh,
From the side, front left corner. Yeah.
okay. We didn't know that. I mean, you're saying that, but you don't have a plan that indicates that. It just says remove and replace railings. And then you got photographs of the railings you intend to replace it with. And will these railings replace or match the other railings that are at the school? We just need more information. That's my point.
The old railings are aluminum, of course, it's not going to match.
Okay, well, you've heard the motion. You made a motion, correct? Is there a
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll see you next month. You can work with Mr. All right, let's move on. A request of John Amneas, am I pronouncing that correctly? For a window replacement at 1031 Greenville Avenue. Sir, we've had an opportunity to review your application.
Okay.
You can describe what you're doing, and we'll take it from there.
Well, let's see, the house was rebuilt in 1983, and the current windows date, I believe, from that time, and it's time to replace them. They're all worn out and leaky, and so I contacted several contractors. It sounds like Renewal by Anderson is probably the people we'll be going with, and just need to make sure we got approval that that what I'm proposing meets standards.
Sure,
So,
all right.
I think you have photographs in your, there.
Yeah.
You should see the current house. There's also the house before it burned down in 1983. There's a picture from 1968 in there, I think.
I just have one question. In the old photo, it looks like they're 1/1s, and some.
It does, but it's really hard to tell.
Were they?
I studied that picture as hard as I could and could not tell because that appears to be storm windows is what it's.
Because I see you're proposing some 2/2s and some 1/1s.
I think it's going to be, well,
I didn't-
everything visible from the street is going to have dividers in it, right? That's the plan.
Come up here if you don't mind. I want to just make sure we're talking the same thing about dividers, because, how are you, man? Thank you. So the windows, if you have it like this, that's a 1/1.
Right.
And when you say 2/2, are you talking that?
4/4, I think.
So that?
Yeah. And
Okay, no,
all the windows that are visible from
Yeah.
the street, there are a couple in the back that I'd like to replace.
yeah.
The application shows 2/2.
In some areas, like 2/2 there, 1/2,
Well,
over 1,
those are
2/2,
sliders.
1/1. You see what I mean? I'd rather see consistent throughout the house, really,
Okay.
if you're going to do it.
Are the sliders existing?
I mean, I can't see it. That looks like 1/1s to me.
You're looking at the historic
My eyes
one?
are going-
There's kind of a shadow in the historic on the right window. There's a
Yeah, there
line, you
is
can
sort
see
of
it. So
a
if that's
shadow, very slight
there's
shadow.
something slight. So if that's a storm window, that would assist. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you. Yeah. So if
Well-
the storm window was off, it would be a 2/2.
Sorry, I didn't bring it up. So,
2/2 windows would be appropriate for the house on the left.
Correct.
okay. All right. Okay, that answers my question.
So the existing windows, what material are they?
The frames are aluminum.
Uh-huh.
And it's got double pane.
Yeah, sure.
So they're metal or, okay. And what's the material that you want to replace them with? Is it that resin composite? Yeah, Fibrex, I guess is what they call it.
So, The details of what happened, the house was, the original house was 1865, then they added on various additions in the 1800s and 1930s or something. Anyway, in 1983, it burned down,
Right.
right down to the floor. So the entire, everything from the floor up is 1983 construction. So that's why they got the modern spot windows right now. And, you know, appropriate replacing them to make it look good.
So you want it to look more period,
I'd love to
And-
change the roof line too, but that's,
yeah.
that's more money.
So for the 2/2 windows where there's a central muntin, it wasn't clear to me as to whether the windows would have simulated divided lights with a spacer between the glass.
Which is what we require.
Okay.
And-
Is it between the glass?
Yeah, so it's not just a grid flat on the outside of the glass. There's also like, put a spacer between the glass so it looks like the muntin goes all the way through. It looks more authentic, and Anderson is a good company, so they should be able to do it.
They need to know what we want.
Yeah,
So you want the spacer between the glass and you also want the piece on the outside?
yeah,
Okay, both. All right.
yeah, so it would be simulated divided light. So I would move approval of your application, including the 2/2.
Does that also include, I mean, isn't in the discussions, does that include the sliders that you had in there in the back? Or are you saying that those would change to a 2/2? I'm just asking.
No, I'd like to keep those as kind of
And those are around towards the back, I believe, you said, I
Yeah.
thought.
There
Okay. And they're currently,
I tried to point them out on the photo.
they're currently a picture window
Yes.
style right now.
Actually,
A sash, just
yeah,
a regular
sash,
double
window,
hung kind of
but it's stuck
below.
together,
One over one.
right together, so it's effectively a picture window.
Okay. And that's in probably the 80s edition or like over the years it's back there. So you'd prefer just to change that to a slider?
Right.
And that would also be the same material window?
Same material, same company.
And you are calling out a bronze, correct? That's what I see in your images.
Yes,
And it's currently a bronze.
it's currently a brown, yeah.
Do you want to change the motion?
No, I just
Okay,
want
so
to make clarify.
maybe I should rephrase it, that we approve the application as proposed with the provision that the 2/2 windows have simulated divided lights.
Yes, okay.
Second?
Motion second. Is there anyone in the audience wishes to address this application? Any further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
We'll work with David on any other building permits and so forth that are required. All right, thanks. All right, next application, Caitlin and Michael Holbrook at 825 Greenville for box gutter rebuilding. Are you Miss Holbrook?
I am. Yep.
Welcome to Glendale.
Hi, thanks.
We've seen your application, and you've seen how we operate. So
Sure.
you can tell as little or as much as you want, and we'll take
Okay.
it from there.
So we bought the house about a year ago. Discovered a lot of deferred maintenance. The first and major involves the roof and the gutters, which are both in the application. The box gutters. So we knew that there, from the inspection, that there was some deterioration. You can also see tons of patches over time. And so we also knew that there was a couple walls that have some plaster damage that is coming from the gutters. So our first major project on the house is to, Deer Park Roofing is going to take the gutter liners out and completely put in new liners, replace any of the damaged wood that's underneath possibly. And apparently there was a roof put on about 5 years ago or so, we think, but it was put right on top of the existing roof. And it, according to the roofing company, it's not speaking the same language as the gutters, so they're not tied together in whatever way they need to be. And so we're looking to have that replaced as well. They told us that both needed to be done. So here we are.
All right, thank you.
You have any samples of the roofing material? Are you matching existing color, style? Is it an asphalt? I mean,
It's an asphalt shingle. I have a picture of it. I don't have like a physical, if you guys want to see possibly.
Sure.
So it's made to look kind of like a weathered cedar shape. So it's like a brownish gray. It's Owens Corning. It's called sand dune.
And that's about the similar color, or that's a different color you're going with?
There's a green roof on there now.
Okay.
I looked at the product that was in the application, and it looked like it was sort of textured with different angles and sizes.
Like a three-dimensional?
Yeah, like a dimensional shingle. And I wasn't really sure that would be the right look for this house. Is this called Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is a magnificent home. It's one of the most historic in the village, so congratulations. It's also subject to an easement that's held by the Cincinnati Preservation Association. And so have you been in touch with them at all about the roof? Okay. Okay, well, that'll be required. This house, I suspect, the way the roof is sloped, it is a very low pitch, and it's a very grand house, and I suspect that it had a metal roof originally. In fact, some of the old photos that I've looked at it's kind of, you can see ridges, like they were standing seams. And that may be why the current roof is green, would be to imitate a metal roof, like a copper roof. So I would suggest, if you're going to use asphalt shingles, just to use a plain, flat, 3-tab
Yeah.
shingle that doesn't have this textured
Sure.
look.
I think whatever was in the quote that I provided was their standard. It wasn't the one that we ended up going with. So that's not actually what we're planning to use.
Okay, so we,
It's the Owens Corning starter shingle.
Yeah, and it's not that one.
Okay.
We-
I couldn't see it on your phone. Yeah, that's what I
Felt
looked
paper, starter shingles.
the true definition duration,
Okay.
like that
Yeah.
was like a dimensional shingle,
Okay.
like what I have on my roof. We need,
Oh, we need samples,
need-
images,
yeah.
something, just for your knowledge. And then also with the Cincinnati Preservation Association, reaching out to them, just seeing what standards go along with the easement. And it may behoove you actually to ask the questions in regards to a metal roof.
Sure.
I mean, you're looking at an 80-year roof plus. I mean, that would
Right.
be dynamic, and I don't know what the cost of metal these days and all that. Definitely a comparable.
Yeah.
But options, and there are definitely options, but coming back with the samples of what are being proposed, yeah, or not only that, but what samples you have that would be approved, not just by us, but for the easement of Cincinnati Preservation Association.
do you need contact information for them?
Probably.
Okay, I'll pass it to, through David Lumsden. But they're very nice. You'll be dealing with Beth Johnson. And I'm sure that the easement is recorded with the deed, so you were somewhat aware of this?
Okay, yeah,
Okay, good.
sure. I know about this. I don't necessarily know if I knew that,
Okay,
but sure.
all right.
Okay. All right, so I will plan to come back next month then?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
let's
thank
have a
you.
motion to defer and keep it clean.
Oh, Dan?
Make a motion to defer to next month till we get the samples and material examples.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Wait, is there a second?
What?
Did you second? I'll second.
Oh, yes, second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And you can work with David. If you have any questions, you can work with him, and he knows how to get a hold of us for any more granular issues. All right, last item of business is James Brossard at 1205 Congress. Mr. Brossard?
That's me.
All right, we've reviewed your plans, and you can tell us as much as you want. We'll take it from there.
So I'm doing some cleanup around my house, and we had some honeysuckle on the right side of my garage, which kind of served as a privacy screen for my neighbor to the right. Upon taking that down, she was kind of upset that she didn't have any privacy anymore, so I proposed that I could put up a 6-foot-high solid privacy screen. So since I'm here, I'm also looking at maybe cleaning up the front of the house as well. I currently have a wooden a wood post fencing from the side of the house to my neighbors on the left, and I want to replace that with a white picket vinyl fence, and then also add that to the back so I can enclose the backyard for the folks that will be living there.
I just had one question, if you could step forward, so I could point to the drawing. As far as the layout, I was fine with everything. I was just curious, this section of fence here, it looks like, do you have it right on your driveway? Do you have enough room where if you have a car parked, you could open the door and get out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this
You
is
know-
going to be more behind the house.
Right, but is it far enough away from your concrete pad? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that you can get your door open? I was just doing that for your benefit. Did you?
I got
Want to see it?
You'll be good? Okay. Okay. Jim?
Okay.
So there's samples of what I proposed, some basic stuff from Home Depot on the solid 6-foot panel, and then also the picket fence that I like to install on the side.
So just in general, a natural material like wood or iron would be preferred to vinyl, but vinyl fences have been approved in the district.
Yeah, I was told that wasn't going to be an issue.
And the
And
design,
they actually stay longer, and they look nicer and longer.
well, that can be debated, but at any rate, the design of your fences is appropriate.
Okay. I'm sure my neighbor would be happy.
Make a motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
Motion and a second. Anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Is there anything else that needs to be done with the historical?
Not with
review?
us. David, you have a building permit, or?
We'll process your permit and let you know when it's ready.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Well, that concludes our action items for this evening. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the planning commission? Afterwards? Okay, nothing that needs to be on the record. Okay. All right, members of the commission, anybody have business to bring before us? Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Further discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thanks, everyone.